What if I told you that scientists have just published a peer-reviewed paper suggesting artificial objects were orbiting Earth before humans even launched Sputnik? Dr. Beatrice Villarroel, an astronomer, has just achieved something that many thought was impossible. She has gotten not one, but 2 papers published in peer-reviewed scientific journals about potential non-human intelligence artifacts in Earth's orbit. So today we're breaking down exactly what she found, how she found it, and why this might be one of the most significant developments in the search for non-human intelligence ever documented. As always, I'm here to report the information without bias, and you can decide what to believe. You can find the sources in my detailed articles at ufonews.co, along with in the description box below. Hey ufologers, I'm Cristina Gomez, and welcome to this episode of UFO News Updates. Let's start with the news itself.
Well, there are actually some good news. So we had 2 papers that were exciting. One about the transient UFO and new connection by Stephen Breuel and myself. And the second paper where we are searching for NHI artifacts by looking for things that look like solar reflections and satellites in pre-Sputnik images. And both these 2 papers have now passed peer review, and they are accepted for publication. In fact, they are published. So they got published on Monday.
This is massive. Getting any research related to UAPs or potential non-human intelligence published in a peer-reviewed journal is incredibly difficult because the stigma around this topic has historically meant that most papers get rejected before review even begins. According to research from the Scientific Coalition of UAP Studies, fewer than a dozen peer-reviewed papers directly addressing potential non-human technology have been published in mainstream journals in the past decade. Dr. Villarroel just added 2 more. And peer review means other scientists checked her work, challenged her methods, and found it solid enough to publish, which makes this achievement significant.
Let me do a quick summary. So the study that you did, you were looking at pre-satellite transient sky events. You basically analysed nearly 300,000 short-lived transient events that were captured on red sensitive photographic plates from the first Palomar sky survey. And these exposures were all taken between 1948 and before humans put satellites up in the late 1950s. And each of these exposures lasted about 45-50 minutes. That hints at something coordinated, possibly spinning or reflective objects.
Each photo captured the sky for 45 to 50 minutes, and she was looking for something specific. She was looking for 3 or more points of light appearing in a straight line during the same exposure. Why does this matter? Well, a single flash could be a defect, but multiple aligned points appeared together suggests something coordinated, something moving, and something reflective. Dr. Villarroel states she does not know of anything natural that fits these kinds of requirements.
We see that roughly 35,000 transients are belonging to this kind of category, but that is just for the Northern Hemisphere, which means that we would need to have around 70,000 of transients around, for the whole Earth. And from that we can estimate that maybe tens of thousands to hundred thousands of objects around the Earth must have been there.
But wait, there is more, and it gets even more interesting, so stay with me. Because there is something else that you need to know about these photographic plates. In 1952, Dr. Donald Menzel became acting director of the Harvard Observatory. Menzel was one of the most prominent UFO debunkers of his era, writing multiple books dismissing UFO sightings as natural phenomena. But what many don't know until after his death was that he had deep ties to U.S. naval intelligence and held high security clearances. And one of Menzel's first actions as director was ordering his secretary to destroy 1/3 of Harvard's photographic plate collection without examination. Then in 1953, he halted all sky survey operations at Harvard for 15 years, a period known as the Menzel Gap. Here's what makes this really suspicious. Some of Dr. Villarroel's most significant transient detections occurred on plates from July of 1952, the same month as the famous Washington, D.C. UFO incident when multiple objects were tracked on radar over the U.S.'s capital. Menzel personally debunked these 1952 sightings as temperature inversions, yet he destroyed historical astronomical data and stopped new surveys during what researchers now recognize as peak UAP activity years. Was Menzel aware of what these plates might show? Well, we don't know that for certain, but the timing raises serious questions about whether evidence was deliberately removed from the scientific record.
In your mind, a plausible explanation for what those objects might be?
So there are different plausible explanations. One is maybe that there is something we don't know about the human civilization, and maybe we had a few rounds already, and
So maybe there's a prior human civilization that was wiped out, as people like Graham Hancock talk about, the Younger Dryas 12,500 years ago. Maybe there was a prior human civilization, and a lot of these megalithic monuments we see on the planet are in fact remnants of a previous, possibly human civilization.
Maybe it's non-human probes that were sent here, like Patrick Jackson. He has this beautiful suggestion of a surveillance network, and I think that it looks very logical. If you have another civilization that is capable of constructing these probes, why wouldn't they send here lots of them?
Dr. Villarroel mentions the work of Patrick Jackson, who proposes that metallic spheres observed around Earth could be part of a surveillance network, and his hypothesis suggests monitoring or defense systems placed by a non-human intelligence.
Nature can always surprise us with something we could never have imagined. So I cannot exclude that there might be some other explanation that is just outside my imagination. But from what I see, I can't find any other consistent explanation than that we are looking at something artificial before Sputnik 1.
There's another layer to this story involving former Canadian Member of Parliament Larry Maguire, who has been investigating whether Canadian scientists collaborated with American scientists on retrieved UAP material. In March of 2023, Maguire wrote to Canada's Defence Minister, claiming that the Defence Research and Development Organization participated in analyzing UAP since around the 1950s through the Five Eyes Foreign Material Program, or FMP, which is an intelligence agency between the United States, United Kingdom, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. The defense minister denied it, but Maguire says officials did not properly investigate his claims. When asked about government cover-ups, he stated that too many credible people have spoken out about classified UAP information, meaning either all of them are lying or something real is being kept secret.
The National Security Agency of the United States, the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency, they have satellites in Earth orbit which could be used to look at objects in geostationary orbit. The heat should be put on NASA and the various US government intelligence and defense agencies that have the capacity to investigate this area of space. They have cameras that could quite easily look at geostationary Earth orbit and resolve this mystery for us very quickly.
We have the technology right now. NASA, the Space Force, and intelligence agencies have satellites that can observe geostationary orbit, so this is not something impossible. Dr. Villarroel even suggests sending a mission to collect samples, which is technically possible with current spacecraft technology. Her research methodology is completely open source, and anyone with the skills can download the data and check her work. So here is where we stand. Peer-reviewed evidence of anomalous objects in Earth's orbit before humans had satellites, government officials in multiple countries asking questions about historical UAP programs, and researchers pushing for transparency. What do you think is more likely? Natural phenomena we haven't discovered yet, remnants of a prior civilization, or evidence of non-human intelligence? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'm Cristina Gomez, and that is it for today. I will see you again tomorrow at 10 a.m. PST for another UFO news update. Be safe, and remember, keep your eyes on the skies. enjoyed today's show, hit that like button. And if you're not subscribed, what are you waiting for? Hit the notification bell as I do daily UFO news and updates. Fresh UAP stories, government disclosures, and breaking developments land here every single day.